everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful and influential titles in Roman history, Divi Filius, or Son of the God. This wasn't just a fancy name, it was a political masterstroke, a propaganda tool, and a foundational element of the Roman Empire. So how did one man convince an entire civilization that he was the son of a deity? Let's find out. Our story begins not with the man who held the title, but with the man who became the god, Julius Caesar. By the 44th of BCE, Caesar was the most powerful man in Rome. He was dictator for life, a brilliant general, and a populist politician. He had pushed through reforms, conquered vast territories, and seemed unstoppable. But his ambition and power terrified the Roman Senate. On the Ides of March, a group of senators, calling themselves the Liberators, assassinated him in the name of the Republic. They believed they were saving Rome from a king, but they inadvertently created something far more powerful, a martyr. Caesar's death plunged Rome into chaos. In his will, he had posthumously adopted his great-nephew, a young and relatively unknown 18-year-old named Gaius Octavius, making him his primary heir. Suddenly, this teenager inherited not just Caesar's immense wealth, but also his name and, crucially, the loyalty of his legions. Octavius, now Gaius Julius Caesar Octavianus, or Octavian as we know him, was smart, ambitious, and utterly ruthless. He knew that simply being Caesar's heir wasn't enough. He needed something more to set himself apart from his rivals, like the seasoned General Mark Antony. And then something extraordinary happened. During the games held in honor of Caesar's victories in July the 44th of BCE, a brilliant comet appeared in the sky and was visible for 7 straight days. For the people of Rome, this was no ordinary celestial event. This was a sign from the gods. The common belief, fanned by Octavian's clever propaganda, was that this was the soul of Julius Caesar ascending to the heavens to take his place among the gods. This was the moment the man became a divinity in the public imagination. Octavian seized this opportunity with both hands. While the official deification of Caesar by the Senate wouldn't happen for another 2 years, the narrative was already set. The comet, known as the Sidus Ilium, or Julian Star, became a powerful symbol. Octavian began minting coins depicting Caesar with a star, reinforcing the connection. He was positioning himself not just as the successor to a great leader, but as the heir to a divine being. In the 42nd of BCE, the Senate, now under the control of Octavian and the Second Triumvirate, officially deified Caesar. He was now the Divus Iulius, the divine Julius. This was a monumental step. While deification of rulers was common in the Hellenistic East, it was a radical concept for the traditionally conservative Romans. But it was now law. And if Julius Caesar was a god, then what did that make his adopted son, Octavian? Simple, Divi Filius, the son of the god. This title became the cornerstone of Octavian's public image. It was a brand, a slogan, and a declaration of unparalleled status, all rolled into one. He put it everywhere, on coins, monuments, and public inscriptions. While his rivals like Mark Antony could boast of their lineage from heroes or even gods like Hercules, Octavian's claim was immediate and officially sanctioned by the Roman state. His father was a god whose temple now stood in the Roman Forum. You can't get more legitimate than that. The power of this title was immense. In a deeply religious society, it gave Octavian a sacred aura. To oppose him was not just a political act, but an act of impiety. It suggested that he was chosen, favored by the gods. For the soldiers, it was a powerful motivator. They weren't just fighting for a general, They were fighting for the son of a god. This divine connection helped him secure the unwavering loyalty of his legions, which was the ultimate currency of power in the collapsing Republic. As he consolidated his power, culminating in his victory over Mark Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium in the 31st of BCE, the title, Divi Filius, grew even more significant. When he was later granted the title, Augustus, by the Senate in the 27th of BCE, officially marking the beginning of the Roman Empire, he styled himself as Imperator Caesar Divi Filius Augustus. Let's break that down. Commander Caesar, son of the god, the revered one. It was a perfect blend of military might, divine inheritance, and personal authority. What's fascinating is how carefully Augustus, as we'll now call him, managed this divine status. He never claimed to be a god himself while he was alive, at least not in Rome. He understood that the Romans would reject a living god king. Instead, he cultivated his genius, his personal guardian spirit, as an object of worship. People could make offerings to the genius of Augustus without directly worshipping the man himself. It was a subtle but brilliant distinction that allowed him to enjoy the benefits of divine status without shattering Roman traditions. The concept of Divi Filius also established a precedent for imperial succession. After Augustus died, he too was deified by the Senate. His heir, Tiberius, could then claim the title of Divi Augusti Filius, son of the divine Augustus. This created a divine chain, a celestial dynasty. Each emperor, upon his death, had the potential to become a god, thereby legitimizing his successor as the son of a new god. This imperial cult became a unifying force across the diverse Roman Empire, a common religious practice that bound its subjects together in loyalty to the emperor. Of course, not every emperor was deified. The bad emperors like Caligula or Nero were condemned after their deaths. Their memories officially erased in a process called damnatio memoria. The promise of deification became a tool to encourage good rule, while the threat of damnation was a warning against tyranny. So when we look back, the title Divi Filius was far more than just words. It was the masterstroke of a political genius. It bridged the gap between the mortal and the divine, transformed a republic into an empire, and legitimized a new form of autocratic rule under the guise of tradition and piety. It began with the calculated response to a comet in the sky and ended up defining the nature of Roman power for centuries. Octavian the Young, overlooked heir, used it to climb to the absolute pinnacle of power, proving that in politics and in ancient Rome, a good story is sometimes more powerful than an army. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Roman history, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Let me know in the comments what other fascinating parts of history you'd like to explore next. See you in the next video.